What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into our Week 10 NFL show. I can't believe we are here at double digits, but Bryson, here we go, man. The season is over, halfway over. So it's time to start getting down to the nitty gritty. Obviously, November football, December football is right around the corner. But my man, it's good to see you. Good slate of games today. How you feeling about this slate we got?
It's a really good one. We talked about last week how it felt like last week was the first week in a while there are multiple games. You're like, this could be a really good football game.
Yeah.
This week's turning out to be maybe even better. There's a lot of what looks to be really close games heading into this week. So Thanksgiving football is right around the corner, and it feels like once Thanksgiving comes around, that's when the intensity for the NFL really picks up. So I'm getting excited.
Yep. I am getting excited as well, my man. Let's jump on in here. As you guys can see, we got our very first game on the board. San Francisco 49ers. They are 3-point favorites on the road in Jacksonville, taking on my top 5 Jacksonville Jaguars. Some people disagree with that, but I have them in the top 5 right now. They are 3-point dogs, over under in this game, 45 total points. Brock Purdy is, as of right now, back for this game. As you can tell by the spread, if he was not playing, you would not see them be 3-point favorites here. So your take on this game, your take on all this Brock Purdy stuff. Before he was out, everyone was like, look, maybe he's not the guy we thought he was. Maybe it's time to go. These 49ers fans, they're turning their back on this kid already. I can't believe it, but I will throw out there, you know what? Screw it, Bryson. I'm going first. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars plus the 3. And you know what? Give me the Jags on the money line. This was my runner-up for my dog of the week. I love this pick here. I think defense for defense, yes, the 49ers, they are the better defense. They are arguably the best defense in the NFL, and they got Chase Young now, so they're a problem. However, the Jags defense, they are slept on. They have to travel from San Francisco pretty much as long as you can travel to get to Jacksonville and play the Jaguars. I think they're going to be a little bit hungover from the plane ride. I like the Jags here. I like Trevor Lawrence more than I like Brock Purdy. I personally don't know if I want to go as far as saying the wrong team is favored, but I don't think anyone should be favored. This should be a minus 110 football game. So for that reason, give me Jacksonville money line and plus the 3.
So first off, I'm right with you on that pick. I have the Jaguars covering the spread too, and I will sprinkle a little bit on the money line there. The Jaguars are playing arguably the best football in the NFL. They have the longest win streak currently. They're on a 5-game win streak. Trevor Lawrence is on a tear. He did the same thing last year. You saw the Jags kind of got off to a slow start last season, and the flip switched, and something clicked, and the entire Jags team just went on a run. And they're doing the same thing, and they're doing it. Trevor Lawrence is playing good football. They're doing it without him playing at a top 5 quarterback level, which I think he can play at. It's been a lot of Travis Etienne. He's been unbelievable during this stretch. It's been a lot of the defense, like you mentioned. The defense really turned it around, has been playing really well. And you mentioned defense for defense. The Niners have probably the most talented or one of the most talented defenses in the NFL. But I find it fascinating that despite having a Nick Bosa on the team, the Jags and Niners are almost identical in terms of pressure rate and sacks on the season. The Jaguars are sitting at, I believe, 18 sacks on the season, 16 sacks, and the Niners are at 18. They're basically the same team when it comes to pressuring the quarterback. This is the worst offensive line San Francisco has had in a long time. Brock Purdy is getting hit every game. And with your question about Brock Purdy, I am a big Brock Purdy defender. Every quarterback goes through rough patches unless you're Patrick Mahomes. Unless you're one of these like top 5 quarterbacks maybe ever type of talent. Everyone goes through rough stretches. I think we forgot we're talking about Mr. Irrelevant, who is playing at such a high level. You knew eventually he'd come back down to earth. I still think he's a good starting caliber quarterback in this league, but I think this is a tough matchup for San Francisco. Both teams coming off rest. I like the Jaguars to keep up with these guys and make it within a field goal game come the end of the game.
Are you willing to go to that plus 140 money line sprinkle?
Yeah, I'll put a little bit on the money line for the Jaguars. I think they're just as talented, honestly, as the 49ers on offense. I know the 49ers have Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. But, Travis Etienne, baller. Christian Kirk, baller. Calvin Ridley isn't even doing much And he's still
Baller.
probably the most talented receiver on this field, if we're being completely honest.
Uh-huh.
So I like the Jaguars to go toe-to-toe with these guys.
We're both on the Jags money line. We're both on the Jags plus the 3. Now, looking at the guys we were just talking about, as you can see down there on the screen, touchdown scores. You got CMC to get in, minus 185. Lately, for the last year, this guy has been the most, I don't use the word lock when it comes to sports betting, but you want a lock, it's Christian McCaffrey to get in and score a freaking touchdown. One, do you think he keeps his mega streak going here and gets in again? I don't like his odds at 185, but if he's going to get in every time, it's worth it. I also love Travis Etienne here at minus 120. Would you take a shot on both of those guys in this game?
I would definitely take a shot on both of them. Christian McCaffrey, I'm with you, is as close to a lock when it comes to sports betting as he gets to score. It's been like, was it 17 straight games with a touchdown?
17, yeah.
And he gets it in the air, on the ground, as the Niners are going to make this a competitive game, which I think it will be. I think this is going to be a good football game.
Me too.
Christian has to score. And with Travis, he went through that stretch 3 straight games with 2+ touchdowns. He didn't score in their last game, still had a really good, solid he did score a receiving touchdown, actually. He didn't have a rushing touchdown. So even Etienne, 4 straight games for him with a touchdown. I like both of them. The odds for Etienne, I get their minus 120, and it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't think I would lay money on it just because I think the Niners defense, if they can stop anyone, it might be Travis Etienne. I would look for Christian Kirk to score for the Jaguars. He's my favorite Jag to score. It's at plus 185, and this Niners secondary, it's not good. The secondary is ranked 19th in the NFL so far this season, and Kirk, I know I said Calvin Ridley's probably the most talented receiver in this game. Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence have a real connection, so I like him to score more than I like Etienne.
Wow, interesting. I'm a little bit higher here on Travis Etienne than you. I do understand exactly what you're saying, and the fact of, look, he's playing pretty much the number 1 rushing defense in all of the NFL, so there's that. But the fact that we're on the Jags, I think he's going to have to get in if we're going to win this football game. So I will go Travis Etienne until he gives me a reason not to. He is due to have a really bad game. He's had so many good games on top of, like you said, like 4 in a row, and multiple of those games are multiple touchdown games. So the dude's rolling right now. There's no reason not to take him. I do agree with you on the minus 120. I'm fine with that number, but I will say I've already looked on some other books. He is plus 100 and plus 105. So you can find him at plus money. You have to take that at plus money, guys. And then Christian McCaffrey, to me, if you like the Niners, put McCaffrey on to score a touchdown in the Niners on the money line, put it in a parlay, get some juicy plus money. I will not be doing that because I don't have the Niners in this game, but I do like CMC, and I would maybe do like a CMC to score and the Jags plus 7.5. I like that kind of same game parlay. So
like that.
Good luck to you guys there. Over under in this one, man, 45 total points, 2 good defenses, 2 very capable offenses. I think they nailed it. What do you do?
Yeah, this is a really tough one. Like you mentioned, 2 good offenses. The Niners are 4th in points. Jags are 10th. But then the defenses are just as good. The Niners are 4th in points, and the Jaguars are 8th in points. So it's crazy. This is a really, really tough one to bet. I'm going to go with the under here. Both these defenses, their biggest strength is against the rush. The Niners are 5th against the run. Jags are 3rd. And both these teams are going to want to establish a run game early. So you could see a pretty low-scoring first half and then just kind of carries over into what could be an exciting second half, but still not enough to push that over.
Man, I'm looking right now for the money on this game because I'm hearing you on the under, and like my inner body is telling me, Riggs, take the under. You're higher on the Jags defense than a lot of other people are. Yes, I am. As you already mentioned, the 49ers, great defense. Why would you go over here? But I also can like see a world in which the backdoor cover hits here. We're in a shootout come the fourth quarter and this thing gets going. But I will go with you here. At the end of the day, defense wins games, defense wins championships, and someone's going to have to go on a game-winning drive here. And I think whoever that is, they're not going to get it done, and they're going to lose this game because one of these defenses steps up. I do trust Lawrence to go on a game-winning drive more than I trust Purdy, but at the same time, the 49ers, they don't give up the big play, and the Jags do sometimes. So I'm with you, man. Let's go with the under 45 here. This game is must-see TV, guys. We could talk about this for the next hour and a half if we had to. So enjoy that one. The Niners and the Jags over under 45 points there. Jumping on over to the team that you already know. We out here repping black and yellow, baby. The Pittsburgh Steelers back in action at home. 2.5-point favorites. Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love are coming to town. 2.5-point dogs. Over under in this one, we got 39 total points. Looking at the number here, man, I know nobody likes to lay points with the Pittsburgh Steelers because they play in so many close games. Their defense is what keeps them together. They carry them, as we all know. And to be honest, let's be real here. The Steelers on offense, they don't do anything special. They do just enough to win football games. Are you okay to lay 2.5 here? And if you aren't, is there any way you're going Packers money line?
I'm okay with laying 2.5 for the Steelers. I know the Packers just came off a very impressive 20-3 win against the LA Rams. It was in Green Bay. It was Brett Rippon at quarterback for the Rams. I don't find it as impressive as other people did. No. I was higher on Jordan Love coming into the season, but I think you're starting to see the allure of him start to fade. He's starting to regress back to a below average, somewhere in the low 20s ranked quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. Kenny Pickett, we say it every time. He gets better every week. I think the run game is starting to get a little bit better as well. The defense is starting to turn it around as they get a little bit healthier. The numbers still aren't great, but this Packers offensive line, it's really bad. I was really high on them coming into the season because Jordan Love didn't get hit at all in the preseason. It's regressed down to the 17th ranked offensive line, according to Pro Football Focus. And the Steelers' offensive line, which I was low on coming into the season, is 18th. So it's basically the same ranked offensive line. I trust the Packers the Steelers pass rush more than I trust the Packers. So I think it's going to be an ugly game in which, if it's ugly, that's Pittsburgh football. Pittsburgh football wins ugly. I think it could be a very similar situation here.
Bryson, I'm loving everything you're saying, my brother, and everything you're saying is very, very true. I am right there with you. Oh, man, I am not willing to lay more than 2.5, but I will lay 2.5 here. I do love the Steelers on the money line, you guys. I will say I'm almost willing to just tell you, screw it. Whatever you were going to bet double and bet it on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're going to win this game. I don't care if they win by 1. I don't care if they win by 10. They're going to win this football game. The Packers, defensively, they're not there. Offensively, they're really not there. And even though they have a good enough defense to make things tough on Kenny Pickett, we just saw Matt Canada come out of the booth. He's on the field now. They're trying to get that communication up. I genuinely think the Pittsburgh Steelers, I know that they're frauds right now, as all you guys want to talk about, and that's fair up to this point. They are a very lucky football team. But you know what? You got to be careful with that word lucky, because you can only be so lucky, Bryson. This is the NFL. Are they lucky, or are they just making plays when they have to make plays? Yeah. That's what I think it is. Oh, well, they're lucky because they get saved by TJ Watt. What? That's the football game. Like, that's our defense doing what they do. Oh, well, Kenny Pickett sucks all game, and then he got lucky and scored on the game-winning drive. No, that's called being clutch, because he's got that dog in him, and Matt Canada's calling plays, and it takes him 3 quarters to go, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'm going to change the play and do what I think is going to work. I think this Steelers team, they're going to get better week in and week out. We're going to see them keep progressing. Deontay Johnson is back. We saw him finally score again last week. I know George Pickens is a little bit upset right now, and that's my one question mark in this game. Is his whole pissy attitude thing going to affect anything here? I really hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't affect his playing time, because at the end of the day, Pittsburgh need George Pickens and Deontay Johnson on the field to make it tricky. Otherwise, you just double cover one of them and you're good to go. So hopefully they're both out there. I wish Pat Freiermuth would get his butt back in the game, because he's a game changer for them as well. But one other factor that you mentioned here is the run game. I know that I was talking to my brother on the radio show the other day, and he was talking about Jaylen Warren. We've all kind of slowly started talking more and more about Jaylen Warren. He's kind of the RB1 now. Najee Harris is probably one of the best RB2s in the league, but he's not an RB1 anymore. And these two guys together are doing a very good job of sharing carries, getting in when they got to get in. Jaylen Warren is much better at like we need 1 yard. That's a Jaylen Warren kind of play. And Najee Harris is good at doing the rest of the stuff. He's a first down back. Jalen's a third, fourth down back. So I like the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Yes, they only average 16.6 points a game. They're 29th in the NFL. Green Bay, 20th in the NFL. They average 20 points a game. So even though they average 3.4 points more than the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think odds makers got this line right. And I'm going Pittsburgh Steelers money line, and I'm going heavy on this bet. So over under, man, 39 points. We just talked about it. If you compare those two numbers together, that's 36.6 points a game. Do you think this total's too high?
I think they nailed it, actually. I don't see it being a very high scoring game. I'm going to take the under in this one. I think it's the smarter way to go. Not only are both these offenses mediocre to below average when it comes to scoring points, these defenses are very good. They both play a bend but don't break style of defense where they give up a ton of yards. You're going to get in the red zone against these defenses, but they're not going to give up touchdowns. The Packers are 10th in the NFL in points allowed per game, and the Steelers are 13th. So both these defenses, they hold their own in the red zone. They don't give up touchdowns very often. I would take both teams. I would take the kicker over on field goals for this game because I don't see very many touchdowns happening in this one.
Hang on, Bryson. You read my mind. And boom, folks, there you go. I was on my way.
I knew you were. Those are your favorite bets.
Let's go. Look, man. Look. Guys, Chris Boswell. They're giving us plus money on this guy to kick 2 field goals. You got to be freaking kidding me. These sports books, at least they learned to take away the field goal for the first score, but they did not learn to put Chris Boswell not at plus money yet. I don't know why. I don't know how. Chris Boswell, 1, he doesn't miss field goals. 2, they kick it more statistically when they're at home. And 3, 39 point over under. Bryson just told you guys the game plan. They're going to keep him out of the end zone, but they're going to get to the red zone pretty often. I don't see how the Steelers don't get inside the 30-yard line at least minimum, and I mean minimum 5 times in this football game. And the fact that they wouldn't kick 2 field goals, maybe 3 or 4 in this game is tough to get at. Chris Boswell over 1.5 field goals, Bryson, that might be the play of the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think,
literally,
like I said, I see both these teams finding their way to get across the 50 pretty consistently, but just settling for field goals all game. So Chris Boswell, one of the better kickers in football, I have complete confidence in him that if they settle for 3 field goals, he's going 3 for 3.
Yes. Sorry, guys. Small victory for me right there. Starting to get everybody on these kicking props, and I'm loving talking kicking props. So, guys, there you go. We're going Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going with Boswell over. I'm going to join Bryson on the under, but I'm a little bit scared about it, if I'm being honest, simply because a lot of the public money right now, as a matter of fact, 99% of it is on the under. Ooh. That might just be the scariest thing I have personally ever seen in my life. I don't see 99%. I look at numbers every day, guys. You do not see 99% of anything on anything ever. Now, come Sunday, come game time, it'll probably be like 75, 80% by the time some more bettors come on this. But still, this is a scary number. I'm going to lean under the 39, but I could see this being a 23-21 type of football game. And for that reason, I'm going to be very cautious on that total. So good luck to everybody in that one. Shout out to the Berg. Here we go, Steelers. Let's keep moving up in the rankings over there in the AFC North. My man, jumping on over to a game that I think is slept on right now, and a dog that I think is slept on right now. And that is the Houston Texans, 6.5-point dogs on the road in Cincy. Cincy getting 6.5 here at home, laying 6.5 here at home, over under 47 points. I know last week you came on, you talked your talk about Joe Burrow. You were right. The Bills lost, the Bengals won. But on the flip side, the Texans had a huge game. CJ Stroud's coming out party. We've been saying CJ Stroud, offensive rookie of the year now for 10 freaking weeks, actually 12 weeks, because we said it before the season started. And now he is minus 500 to get it done. Do you think Cincinnati need to be careful in this game? Because I see this being a dog barking spot and a big dog.
I do. I think this is a big dog barking spot. I don't know how confident I am for the Texans to come out and win this game, but 6.5 points is way too many points in this one. CJ Stroud, like you mentioned, is playing absolutely out of his mind. Broke the NFL single game record for a rookie with passing yards with over 470 and threw 5 touchdowns last week. 5. That's against the Buccaneers defense, which is no slouch. That's a talented defense that he just shredded left and right. Was absolutely unbelievable. And another reason I think this could be a sneaky good spot to take an underdog. The Bengals just came off a very emotional big win against the Bills.
Yep.
And then they have the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore next week. This could be a game where the Bengals kind of they overlooked the Texans. They're the Texans. No one had huge faith in them coming into the season. They may just sleepwalk through this game. I think Cincinnati is good enough with Joe Burrow, who's playing some of his best football of his career these last few weeks. I think they're good enough to win a game like that, but not by more than a touchdown. So I have the Texans with the red-hot CJ Stroud coming in, and at the very least covering 6.5 points.
Bryson Owens, I'm loving what you're saying, man. I'm with you all day. This has that don't sleep on them, dog bark, and be careful kind of game written all over it. I'm very worried for the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. I personally am someone that I'm not back on the Bengals yet. You know what? Kudos to them. Hats off. They won a big one there against Buffalo, but Buffalo is not the juggernaut that we all think that they are. So they're not that good of a football team. The Texans, I've been on these guys, dude, since week 1. I think their defense is underrated. I think their offense is underrated. I love their run game. I know they've had their moments where you're like, dude, 13 points ain't going to win you a game. How do you lose to the Carolina Panthers? They've had their moments, but I think this is a damn good football team. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm with you on the 6.5. Wait for this number to hit 7 because there's enough of the public, in my opinion, that are dumb enough to come up in here and lay 7 points with the Bengals. I don't think you can lay 7 points with the Bengals, even if they're going to win by 7 or more. I don't think that there's any value in that. I just don't. No. They don't deserve to be 7-point favorites in this game. So 6.5, fine. If you want to lay that, good luck to you. But I'm with you. I'm taking the 6.5, and I'm going one step further. I'm looking at that juicy plus 235, and I'm going to sprinkle away on that money line, dude. Look, it's the biggest dog on the board, in my opinion, that's actually barking.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't know if I'm as confident on the money line because I do think Cincinnati is talented enough on both sides of the ball to not play their best football and still beat this team. The Texans are still very young. Yeah, I it could be a field goal game. It's kind of how I see this going.
I agree with you. All right, man. Over under 47 points here. Now, you got a Bengals team that they have both defenses, in my opinion, are respectable. They're both average defenses. I actually think the Texans defense is a little bit better than the Bengals defense. And a lot of people would argue that the Bengals offense is a little bit better than the Texans offense. 47 points, though. I can't lie to you. Based on the games we've already talked about, this feels a little bit high for me. Are you going over?
I actually am. It is a little high. 47 points is a lot to bet the over on. But these are two offenses that can get hot in a hurry. You saw last week, I know the Bengals kind of fizzled in the second half of that game against the Bills. The offenses on both sides kind of stalled out, but the Bengals came out red hot. They scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter like it was nothing. And both these defenses, I'm with you. I think these are better defenses than the numbers may suggest, especially the Bengals because they got off to such a bad start that they're now starting to turn around into what they were last year. But these are the one weakness for both these defenses is in the secondary. The Texans are 24th in the pass defense, and the Bengals are 22nd. So these are two below average to bad secondaries right now. You've got 2 quarterbacks who are lighting up the field right now. You got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on one side, Nico Collins and Noah Brown and some other capable wide receivers for the Texans on the other side. I think this could be a shootout. This could be one of the higher scoring games of the day.
Dude. Oh man, I'm stuck in this game. If we were looking at like a 44 and a half, number, I'd be looking towards that over, but there's this little piece of me that feels like one of these offenses shits the bed. I don't think it's going to be the Bengals offense, but they've had their moments. There is those games where Joe Mixon gets, 12 carries for 32 yards. And you're like, yo, what the hell is going on with Joe Mixon? That could be one of these games here. And the thing is, I know that CJ Stroud in this offense, they exploded last week, but look at who they played. They should not have given up the points they gave up. So that's a fear of mine. And also, I know they scored heavy, but if you look at all of their other games, they don't usually score that high. They're usually like a upper teens, low 20s kind of football team. So I'm going to lean towards the under 47 here. I don't blame you guys for going over. I just think it's it's 2 points too high for me. 45 is about my max number in this game. So I'll go under. Bryson going over. We're both going Houston Texans plus the 6.5 points. So good luck to you guys in that one. I do want to ask you though, since we have so many points in this game, looking at maybe a touchdown score, 2 touchdown scores. Right now, they do not have the touchdown score odds up for this game. But is there anyone off the top of your mind that you would take here to get in?
Yeah, for the Bengals, I would take T. Higgins. He's finally starting to get it going. He had a very bad start to the season. He was struggling. And you saw last week against the Bills that Joe Burrow made it like a point to get him the football as much as possible. So I think T. Higgins could have a high-scoring game, could have a touchdown in this one. And I like Noah Brown for the Texans. He's exploded the last couple of games for the Texans with CJ Stroud. I think those two are starting to build a pretty consistent connection for the Houston Texans.
I like that a lot. I feel like, by the way, guys, I'm trying to find these odds. I can't find these touchdown score odds anywhere. So we're just going off the top of our head. I like everything you're saying. And I'm going to say if Dameon Pierce is good to go and he's healthy to go, I've been on this guy since last year. I'm still on him. Dameon Pierce at plus money. If you guys can find him at, I'm going to throw out there, plus 125 or better, I would take Dameon Pierce to get into the end zone. Anything, if it's like minus 105, don't touch it. But anything plus money, especially plus 120s or better, you got to jump on that number. So good luck to you guys there. One more game before we give you our dogs of the week. This is going to be a fun one in the afternoon. We got the Detroit Lions on the road, 3-point favorites in that big, beautiful stadium in LA, taking on the Chargers. Chargers 3-point dogs in their own house. 48.5 is the over-under in this game. Are you surprised to see the Chargers as 3-point dogs here?
I'm not. I think the Lions are just that much of a better football team. I think they are being slept on as as a contender in the NFL. Like, people are looking at the Lions as a fun story. Oh, wow, they're 6-2. They're winning that division. Dan Campbell's such a fun personality to follow. This team is an underdog story. Look how cool that is. But all they talk about when they talk about contenders in the NFC are the Eagles, rightfully so, the Niners, and the Cowboys. Those are the only teams people talk about. And the Lions are absolutely incredible. They are one of the best offenses in the NFL. They rank top 10 in every offensive category. And that defense is starting to become one of the better units in the NFL. So I think this Lions team is just flat out better than the Chargers. I would have made them even bigger favorites personally. I know that Justin Herbert being at home probably drives that line a little bit. I'm not as confident in Justin Herbert. He's not been great the last couple of weeks. He's not been great this season in general. And with this Lions team, with Aiden Hutchinson against that Chargers offensive line, which is just okay. It's an okay offensive line. I don't think it's anything great.
No. I
think this is a good spot to take the Lions on the money on the spread here. 3 points is not enough in my opinion.
I'm with you on the 3 points, man. I really like the Detroit Lions here as well. I agree with you on Justin Herbert. That boy's got ice in his veins, and it ain't the good ice. It's the he gets cold at the wrong time kind of ice. He's not a clutch guy. If they get the football with, I don't know, a minute and a half left or less, and they have to go down and score a touchdown, it will not happen in this football game. We have seen the Lions bend. They don't break often on defense, but they've had their moments where I'm like, yo, they're on like a game-saving drive and they're giving up 20 yards, 25 yards, 18 yards. And you're like, dude, lock down on defense. This is the kind of game where this could be a problem. Yes, there could be openings for the Chargers, but I don't think Justin Herbert's going to have enough in the tank here. There's this little piece of me that wants the Lions to lose just because I have coach of the year to be Mike McDaniel. And right now they got the Lions coach as the favorite. So I'm like, come on, Dan Campbell, I need you to fall off a little bit, brother. But all that BS aside, I actually do like the Lions in this game. I think they win this game. I'm with you. 3 points or less is worth it to me. I would not lay a hook here, though. If this goes to 3.5, is it fair to say at that point, take the money line, find a parlay piece, or are you still willing to lay more than 3?
I'm still willing to lay more than 3. I think the cap for me is if it gets to 4.5. I think that's probably my cap there. One other note I have, you mentioned Justin Herbert and how he's not able to win game winning drives. With Justin Herbert this season, in 3 of his last 4 weeks, he's played against top 10 defenses. The Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Jets. Those are 3 of the better defenses in the NFL. I'm putting the Lions defense up there with them. And in those 3 games against these good defenses, he has 3 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, and his most passing yards is 259. He had one good game in between against the Bears, which is one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Yeah. Going against this Lions defense, I think Herbert could have a rough game.
I think he can have a rough game too, man. Now, I got to ask you, over under in this game, here's some numbers for you. LA Chargers, 8th in the NFL, 25.1 points a game. Detroit, 1 spot behind them in the 9 spot, 25.0 points a game. So 25 a pop on each side, 48.5. Are you going over here?
No, I'm actually going the under in this one. The one thing about both these teams, the Lions are 2nd in the NFL in rush defense. They only give up 76.8 yards per game. The Chargers are 6th in rush defense. The Chargers secondary is really bad. It's 32nd in the NFL. But I think you're going to see the Lions really try to take the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands as much as possible, run the ball a lot, limit possessions, and just drain the clock, kill the clock in this game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of possessions for both teams. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than people think.
So Bryson liking that under 48.5. And by the way, we got a little surprise for you guys. Special guest, that man, Austin Martin, is in the building, brother. Good to see you. Glad to have you on. He's going to be on for our college football show here coming up in just a few minutes as well. But man, we are talking about this Lions-Chargers game. We're both on the Lions. We're both laying the 3 points here. And so far, Bryson is on the under 48.5. What you thinking?
All right. Well, first off, what's good, fellas?
Good to see you, man.
Hey.
Well, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna cause some chaos since everyone's going with the Lions. I like the Chargers in this one. I don't know. Eckler's been a beast this year. I think he's gonna have a good game against these Lions, and that over, it does look pretty, especially with these two teams' offense, but I am kind of with you on the under here because I don't know. This Lions team, they've been kind of hit and miss as of late. And same with the Chargers. They've had some games where they've been a little up and down as well. So I'm going to go under with you guys too.
All right. And by the way, man, looking at the money on this game, 83% of the bets are on the Lions, 95% of the money. So Austin Martin might be coming in with a little sneak attack there and getting the Chargers here with the 3 points, man. But on the over-under, look, I guess you shook it up. I'm going to shake it up. I'm going to go over, and I don't ever go over 48.5 points in an NFL game. You guys won't see it happen again, but this is the moment it's going to happen. I already said it, 25.1 and 25.0 points per game for each offense here. That's 50 points. I'm willing to lay this number up to 49.5. So at 48.5, I will take it. I think this is a shootout. I can see one of these two teams making it to the 30s in this game, 30, 31, 34 max, and then maybe like a 34, 27 kind of game. So I'm going to go over here. I can't believe I'm doing it, but I will take a shot on the over. Looking at a few touchdown scores here, guys, as you can see here as we pull them up. David Montgomery is the favorite, -145. Austin Eckler, 155. Oh, they actually flipped the odds there, so I don't know what they're doing. But St. Brown, -110. Jahmyr Gibbs, plus money at 115. Sam Laporta, been a big factor for them at +140. Who you guys looking at here, Bryson? Maybe one guy on each team.
So I'm taking my guy, Sam Laporta, for the Lions. He has been on a tear. He's easily been the best rookie tight end this season, which was crazy because this tight end draft actually had a lot of really good players in it, and Sam Laporta is by far playing better than any of them. He's been one of Jared Goff's favorite targets other than Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's kind of been St. Brown and then Sam Laporta. So, and against the 32nd ranked pass defense, I think that Laporta could have a big game. For the Chargers, it's a little tough because I don't love a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with
you can go
with the other tight end
if you want, Bryson. We can start scrolling, brother.
You know what? I'll take a shot on another tight end. I'll take Jared Everett for the Chargers.
Ooh,
I think that
there you go.
He is plus 320 on that one. I think the Chargers are going to make up the Lions defense. First of all, I mentioned one of the best in the NFL against the run. So I think they're going to have a good chance to limit Austin Eckler in this game. I think they're going to focus so much on Keenan Allen in the secondary that Everett could have a sneaky in the red zone. He could sneak one in for a touchdown.
All right, Austin, are you against him on any of those? And do you have one that you really like here?
I like those picks. Those are pretty solid, especially with that run defense. I wouldn't mind, I think Jahmyr Gibbs would be a good option. He's starting to have, he's starting to put it together, and Dan Campbell's utilize him a little more. So I do like Jahmyr Gibbs. And you know what? I think Keenan Allen might get a sneaky catch. You never know with him. Might hit a slant in the end zone or do a little fade in the corner over the top of the receiver. So give me Keenan Allen as well.
I really like your Keenan Allen play, and I can't believe the guy's plus 135. Who made these odds? 48.5 points. The Chargers are 3-point dogs at home. And in my opinion, as you can see by the board, their number one target is plus 135. I just feel like that's kind of unheard of in a game that's so high scoring. So big value there on Keenan Allen. I'm going to jump on that Jahmyr Gibbs all day long at plus 115. Yep. There's no way I'll leave that on the board. And then I got to be honest with you guys. One of my favorite things here, if you're looking for some big plus money, I like David Montgomery parlayed with the Lions to win the game. And just call it a day. It's about plus 150, plus 175. Worth a shot there. Now, guys, jumping on over. That is it for the Lions. But, Austin, I know you're a little bit behind on this party, so we'll give you a minute to go ahead and go second. But we're looking at our NFL dogs of the week. Each of us has one dog for you guys, maybe two. If there's two that we're looking at, Bryson, you can go ahead and fire first, man.
Yeah, so mine, I'm going to take the Washington Commanders against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks came out very flat against the Baltimore Ravens. I know the Ravens are playing some of the best football in the NFL right now, but that was a really poor performance by the Seahawks. Geno Smith has really come down to earth this year. He is not playing nearly as well as he did a year ago. Yeah, he has 9 touchdowns. Yep, but they're riding back now. Geno Smith, 9 touchdowns to 7 picks. He's not what he was last year. And Sam Howell, interesting note on Sam Howell. In the last 5 games, he leads the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns. He is playing some really, really good football right now. I think the Commanders are playing inspired. They're trying to make a push for that wild card spot. And Seahawks, they're very hit or miss. It seems like every time they're big favorites, they come up a little bit short. So I don't know if I love the Commanders on the money line. I might sprinkle a little bit on there, but plus 6.5 for me is an easy bet with Washington.
Washington Commanders to upset Geno. You got some balls there, Bryson, but I like what you're saying, and I'm with you, dude. Geno's just not the same guy anymore. So go ahead and take a shot on that plus money if you want to. I will fire next, man. I am looking at Derek Carr to shit the bed again. What's new over here, man? Derek Carr, they are 3-point favorites on the road, minus 155 against the Minnesota Vikings. And that man, Josh Dobbs, if they win this one, I might have to just shave the eyebrows off or do something like that. I don't know. We will see. But look, man, I think the Vikings in this game, look, if Kirk was playing, I probably wouldn't even touch this game. But Josh Dobbs, this dude's bringing a fire to this offense. He runs the ball better than Kirk. He's a gunslinger. We saw him do it in Arizona. Now he's got a few more pieces in Minnesota. The dude had 0 practice reps, and he went out there and did what he did. You give him a whole nother week, a bunch of confidence. His team now knows his name. They're bought in on him. I am not high on the Minnesota Vikings, but the fact that they're playing the fraudulent Saints and Derek Carr crash, get ready for another one. Saints money line, Vikings money line, plus 130. Put it in, Austin.
Real quick. There are three things guaranteed. There are 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Riggs fading Derek Carr. So who could have guessed?
There you go. Hey, you know what, too? It's going to cash in, and we're all going to be like, well, it happened again. I don't know how these guys are favored in any game that they play, but here we are once again. So fade them until further ado.
Dude, I was looking at that Vikings one. I'm looking the Niners and Jags. The Niners, they're having people healthy, so I'm not going to go there because that one is a little scary because there are players coming back. Mm-hmm. Dude, early in the morning, I'm putting some mayonnaise in my coffee. I'm riding with Will Levis, dude. Give me the Titans against the Bucks. On one of the books, they're like plus 100. I think that's very doable. This Bucks team has not been impressive this season, and I think with Levis having the extended time to really get comfortable with the offense, I think that's going to help the Titans as well because they had that Thursday matchup, so a little bit more time to prepare and not going against a good defense like the Steelers. So give me the Titans upsetting the Bucks.
Bryson, I know you probably got something to add to that because we were talking about that earlier.
Yep, I do really like that pick. I've been very impressed with Will Levis. I was higher on him coming into the draft than a lot of people were. I was shocked he slipped as far as he did. He does something that the Titans haven't had in the quarterback with Ryan Tannehill, and that's just the guts to just throw up a 50-50 ball and just say, someone come down with it. Ryan Tannehill wouldn't do that. Will Levis looks at DeAndre Hopkins. He's like, you're 6'3", you've got a massive wingspan and probably one of the best set of hands in the NFL. I'll just throw it up to you and hope for the best. Derrick Henry's still playing at a very high level.
Down there somewhere.
They're going against the Bucs defense that just gave up 470 passing yards and 5 touchdowns to CJ Stroud. Yeah. So I'm all with you on that one, Austin. That was one of my other dogs that I really liked heading into this one.
Well, someone's got to rain on your guys' parade, so I'll be that guy. Look, man, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm not against your play, Austin, because I'm with both of you guys in the sense of it's small plus money in a game that they probably shouldn't have a plus in front of their name, so that's fine. I am higher on Baker Mayfield than other people. I really like the Bucs when they play at home. It's the one place I won't fade them. If this game was in Tennessee, I would probably go with the Titans, but I personally will fade this dog, not to shit on Austin's dog at all, but someone's got to talk you guys down here because I haven't been on the Titans all year. I'm still not on them. I do like Will. I think he's a better addition. He's like Josh Dobbs for me and like in Minnesota or someone else somewhere else. Like, I just think that it's good that he's here. Maybe he has a future there, but there's no way I could take money that I worked my butt off for and put it on the Tennessee Titans. I just can't do it. So I don't know. Good luck to you guys there. Fellas, any other thoughts, any other dogs, anything that we didn't talk about here you guys want to throw out for NFL week number 10?
Oh man, I think we covered all of it. This is actually a good week for a lot of underdogs on the spread, in my opinion. Another one I like, Cleveland. I think they could make that game a competitive one against Baltimore. There's a lot of like these higher spread ones, like these 6.5 point spreads that I don't really see hitting. I think it's going to be a good week for underdogs.
Good dog week. I'm right there with you, man. Especially, look, we got to touch on that Browns game for 2 seconds now that you brought it up because I can't bet on Deshaun Watson. I can't do it. Nope. But I do agree with the fact that we're starting to see the Baltimore Ravens get a little bit too much respect, right? Like every year we see these guys, as soon as they start to play well, everyone starts to bet them, and all of a sudden they get blown out of the water by someone that they have no business. Lamar goes out there and puts up 6 points, and they lose an ugly 13-6 football game against the Browns or something like that. You know Jay Tuck's going to do what he's got to do, but is Lamar going to keep doing what he's got to do? I don't know. I'm not going to go Browns this week, but I'm with you. I do think the Ravens are someone to keep an eye on in the next couple of games. We should probably try to find a spot where we can get someone barking against the Ravens and try to pick a loss out for them. So we'll see what happens. But give these boys a follow. Austin Martin at @A_ST.in. Bryson Owens at Bryson Owens 16. Myself at Riggs Picks. Check out sportsforumdenver.com. Going to have some sports articles up there for you guys as well. And an NFL Week 10 giveaway. So do not miss out. If you're looking for somewhere to watch the games this weekend, head on down to our friends over at Jackson's Lotto, 1520 20th Street there in Denver, Colorado. And until week 11, we'll see you guys. Good luck.